What is up, guys? We are here for round number 4 of the double-header championship. We have moved across to Italy, and it is a very wet Italy. To be honest with you, it's absolutely bucking it down, to say the least. So we're still in the fight for the championship at the moment. I mean, we're not too far off at all, apart from the glitch that happened at the end of the last episode. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. It was really frustrating, but apart from that, we've been pretty solid so far. We did well in China. We got a podium in the first race. Didn't score any points in the second. We won the first race in Mexico, which was obviously awesome. And then obviously the huge crash that happened on the first lap of the last race. But nonetheless, we're going to continue on and look at the grid. You can see the Toro Rosso boys in 13th and 14th, Palmer down in 15th, and then ourselves in last place. So we binned it in qualifying. We really did. We set up for a wet race because we knew it was going to be wet. And obviously it was a dry qualifying, so our car was just all over the place. But hopefully the changes we made to the car will be worth it as we get underway in this Haas car. We got Fernando Alonso's teammate just to the left of us, and we've got Marcus Ericsson, who is just going to fall behind us as we go into turn 1. I'm going to do our best I can to make up as many positions as possible. Carlos Sainz has the right idea as he steamrolls through into turn 1 on the side of Romain Grosjean. So it's going to be a difficult one. We've made up some places already, but I'm just praying that obviously the setup we made prior to qualifying will actually make its worth from us starting from the back of the grid. Because if we ran a normal setup, we could have got a podium, because obviously we're pretty good in the wet. So hopefully we can, maybe do better than that, maybe get a second place. If not the race win, that'd be awesome from last. But it is a big ask because Lance Stroll goes incredibly slow. Carlos Sainz exactly the same. And we're going to pick off Nico Hulkenberg as well, who braked incredibly early. So it's looking like so far we've made the right decision. We've got a lot of grip through these slow speed corners, and everyone else's traction looks to be so poor. Massa's actually going to squeeze us really tight to the apex and the curb. We got Ocon just ahead of us. I'm not sure if we're going to risk going up the side of Ocon, but we're definitely going to get past the Williams at least. And so we do. We've got Esteban Ocon just ahead of us. So in one lap, we've made up 11 positions, which is absolutely crazy to think that we've still got 12 laps to go, give or take. But we're going to go for a humongous dive bomb on Esteban Ocon because they are all braking so early, and it's quite weird that they're braking so early because they don't have the traction. Well, obviously we set up our car for this exact condition, so we're actually better off than these cars. We think about going down the inside of Max Verstappen, but we do think better of it as it's not really worth the risk. We're going to get better traction coming out of the chicane. We're going to switch to the left and then back to the right, and he's going to give us a little bit of a squeeze on. But we're just going to take full advantage of our traction in these mixed conditions. They're not, I wouldn't say they're necessarily wet because the rain isn't coming down that hard, but the track is damp at least. So obviously, I guess the way our car is set up, it's working perfectly. It's in the right operating window compared to everyone else. We have a VSC out. I'm not 100% sure who that was for. I can't remember off the top of my head. This was recorded a few days ago, but I mean, a VSC is a VSC at the end of the day. I mean, we usually gain so much time on the cars with the VSC just by reacting a lot quicker than everyone else. So hopefully we can do the same. But Ricciardo is behind, I believe it's Perez, if this preview window could be any bigger. But we've gone green now, back to racing the speed. We didn't actually gain anything on Ricciardo as far as I can see. But hopefully coming out of Parabolica we'll be able to get a good enough run on the Red Bull car. But they do seem to have better traction out the final corner than we do. That's like the only corner on the track that I can see where we're losing time compared to everyone else. The car just steps out as we try and put the throttle down. But we're going to try and make the same move that we did to Esteban Ocon, just because of the breaker zone. We are catching Ricciardo in a straight line, but he's going to be held up a little bit by Sergio Perez. So we'll take full advantage. We dive to the apex and we get past him very cleanly indeed. The Mexican just ahead of us. There was a car off in the background. There was a yellow flag as I just take out a brake marker board trying to see what was going on, and I believe it was Max Verstappen who ended up in the gravel with an engine failure. There we go, just to confirm what I said, as we now dive down the inside of Sergio Perez. I tried getting a replay for that, but it was similar to. It hasn't even happened yet. So it's in some cases, if you check to see how a car retired, it's already retired by that point. By the time it tells you, so it won't show up, which is kind of annoying. But we're in the hunt for Sebastian Vettel now, and Vettel's been going really slow. I have no idea why. He could have issues. It could be tyre wear for all I know. But he was struggling enormously. So we do get past Sebastian Vettel. And then on lap 12, we've got Kimi Raikkonen, who's holding us up a little bit. We've got such pace. And the two Mercedes cars, who are first and second, are only just there. And if they continue to battle going side by side like they are and have been doing, then we could catch right up to them and potentially take the lead of this race, which is what I could only dream of. But going on the final lap, you can see the Mercedes are only just there, and they are going side by side through these corners. They are really fighting for this win. Bottas, he wants to get his first win in championship mode, and Hamilton to try and get another win under his belt. Bottas looks like he's going to lose out just a little bit, but we're going to use our optimum traction. We're going to go past Bottas. We go on the grass just a little bit because we didn't really have anywhere else to go. So cheers, Valtteri, that was very nice of you. But we're going to go past Bottas, and we've got Hamilton here as well. So we're in rich mix. We're just going to fly past both of the Mercedes. We're going to take the lead of this race with half a lap to go, give or take. And we're looking pretty good to win this. And I thought coming down the back straight or on the start-finish straight, the Mercedes were actually going to have me because they've got such better straight line speed. But we just kept our traction zones up. And the Mercedes does start to come back at us a little bit. But we do actually manage to hold on and take our second feature race win in a row. So obviously we didn't win the sprint race, otherwise it'd be 3 in a row. But Günther Steiner is obviously going to be well happy with that. We drove solidly. I was so pleased with how we set up the car. The only issue now is that I'm not sure if the setup saves or not between races. So obviously for the first qualifying, whatever you run in that will carry over to the first race. I'm pretty sure in the second one you can rechange your setup, because if that's a dry race, then I want to be in trouble. If it's a wet race, I'll be golden clearly because of the pace I've shown here. So Hamilton, Bottas get another pole position, which is no surprise there. But we do manage to get our 7th win on the board. So we are catching up to Kimi in terms of wins in championship mode. We've closed the door on Vettel gaining any points on us this weekend. I guess technically it'd be a weekend. It's 2 races, so I'm going to assume it's a weekend. So let's go with that. Anyway, so obviously Vettel got an unfair points advantage. Let's say that, to be frank. And sure enough, it is actually dry in the race. So we was able to change our setup for the second race, which was absolutely perfect because it was really annoying. Now, the only issue that I had with this race is that I had people keep coming in every couple of seconds, so I had to keep pausing, restarting. So that's the only irritating thing. So, for example here, I just, it was just frustrating, and you can see, you'll see a few times throughout the video, there'll be a little bit of jumps because obviously when the game loads, it doesn't load up straight away. It goes forward by a few frames, and then it all loads with the names and everything like that. So apologies if you notice that and if it really bugs you. Make sure to lock my door next time. But nonetheless, we're going to go side by side with Fernando Alonso, who actually beat us out coming out of that chicane. He's going to hold on really well. He's actually properly fighting for us, which I didn't expect from the McLaren Honda. We're going to pull to the right hand side. There's another 2 cars going side by side just ahead of us. It's going to be interesting. We're up to P9 because we made so many gains from turn 1, but you can see how slow Hulkenberg's going, all thanks to the I believe that's Romain Grosjean. Yes, it is. Our teammate held him up beautifully, and I don't think we're going to get him into Parabolica because we didn't want to risk our front wing. We don't want to damage that, which is it's not worth it, especially considering in Mexico in the first championship we lost our front wing, and it really hindered us. We could have won that race, and ultimately it lost us that, all because we damaged an end fence. But we're on to P7, and obviously this is where the taste of it comes in, because there's not many cars who are actually that fast here. The best car up ahead is Max Verstappen, and he's actually stuck behind, I want to say it's a McLaren Honda, I'm not sure, but we'll be able to see Verstappen very shortly and do what we can with him. The McLaren Honda there of Stoffel Van Dorn does get overtaken by the Sauber coming through Ascari. But we're going to come all the way down the back straight. We're going to go past Stoffel Van Dorn. There's only 4 cars ahead of us, one of them being a Sauber. So we could potentially get fourth place in this race, which would be absolutely awesome to get past. The 3 cars ahead of us, other than him, there's a Renault, I believe that's Jolyon Palmer, Max Verstappen, and Carlos Sainz, which is fair play. I mean, Carlos Sainz already has a race win in championship mode, so Carlos Sainz could make it too. Don't believe Verstappen's actually won a race yet in championship mode, so that's pretty interesting. I know he's got a podium, but I think that is as far as it extends to. But we want to come through past Palmer, and then on the final lap, we can't quite catch Max Verstappen, but it will be the Spanishman who will take the win in the second race. The sprint race? Sprint race. Carlos Sainz will take the second win in the sprint race ahead of his senior teammate Max Verstappen. Franz Tost will be absolutely ecstatic with how the Spaniard drives, bearing in mind he's not driving for Toro Rosso anymore, but fair play to Carlos Sainz getting his second win in a Formula 1. And I'm probably going to have to update the teams for the next championship I do when it goes back to regular drivers, because there's not much point driving with Kvyat and Palmer in F1 if they're not really in F1. Bearing in mind Kvyat probably is, but we're getting a bit off track. Carlos Sainz records his second win. We get third place just behind Max Verstappen, so Dr. Helmut Marko will be absolutely ecstatic that the junior team beat the senior team. But you can see we're level on points with Sebastian Vettel going into the finale. It's going to be an interesting race in America to see if we can potentially take the championship off Sebastian Vettel. But until then, guys, I'll see you later.